20 minutes on the dot. I'm not going to pull the plug on you. So, you know, if you, it's actually a good way to see how well you manage your own time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
20 minutes is a guide. We've had some people go a little bit less. Some people have to go a little bit more, whatever you're comfortable with. But if you could start with just a quick, brief introduction too, in case anybody that's not on this doesn't know you, it'd be great. Just to, unless you're going to work that into your, you know, another part in the introduction, you can do that.
Okay. Okay. So we start when I.
So whenever you're ready, we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, first of all, I'd like to just welcome you all to today's PCA workshop. I just want to lead off by saying that this is a workshop. It's going to be a little bit interactive, and I'm going to really lean in to you all because your experiences matter. Your experiences add value, and ultimately your experience will make this really an enjoyable process. Quick breakdown about me. My name is Jonathan Jones. In 2009, I was a part of a national championship winning junior college basketball team. And I've lived basketball from since I was yay high. And following me just playing basketball in college, and I had the opportunity to play semi-pro as well. But I'm really excited to be here with you today. And now, but before we even get started, we're going to go ahead and just sign in. As you can see, just the PowerPoint behind me. If you can just text the number 650-763-2405 as it reads right here on the PowerPoint. And you're going to use the hashtag, you're going to use the pound sign or the number sign, whichever way you identify it as. And you're going to text the number 00000. Include first name, last name, and email. And then you will go ahead and just send that to the number shown. And then we'll be able to get started. So I'll give you a few moments to do that right now. And then as you complete this, I would just ask you just to hold up your phone just so I know that you're done and just so I know that you've completed that. Okay, we've got one, we've got two, we've got everybody. Okay, we're all in. Excellent, excellent. So now I'm just to get a feel for the room, and I would love if you could stand. If this is your first year coaching, could you just stand for me? Okay, so we have no first year coaches. Excellent. We have veterans in the room. So if you've coached from 2 to 7 years, could you now stand for me? Okay, excellent. Okay, Scott. Okay, wonderful. And then if you've coached 7+ years, 7 years and beyond, now if you could just stand. Awesome. I love it. And I just want to give you all just a round of applause just really quickly, just to thank you all for just the value and the service that you've been adding by working with these youth, by working with individuals, and ultimately impacting them in a positive way. So now we're gonna go ahead and dive into today's presentation. And we're talking about double goal coaching. I'm just going to pause really quick and let you know that double goal coaching is not here just to tell you this is the way that this is what we believe in. More importantly, this is about coaching for winning and also life lessons. We're not saying we're anti-winning at all. We believe in wanting to win, but most importantly, we want to allow these individuals to take away life lessons as well. Who's PCA, Jonathan? PCA has trained 80,000 plus coaches. Over 3.3 million youth have been reached through PCA and the resources, 2,500 live workshops, and ultimately 1 million+ visits on the PCA Development Zone website. I'll give you more information about that. So if you just really look at the credentials, PCA has been doing this for some time now, and I would say the track record stands pretty strong. Would you agree? 1 million+ visits to the PCA Development Zone? These guys know what they're doing. These guys know what they're doing. Positive coaching. Positive coaching. I want to just ask, I want to hear just from you all. What would you say positive coaching is? When you hear the term positive coaching, what would you think, Kelly? When you hear the term positive coaching, what would you think?
I think it's a coach that's really supportive and has fun, cares about the players, cares about making practice fun for the kids and help them to learn something. That's kind of what I think.
Okay, positive. Thank you for that. Ruben, how about you? Positive coaching.
Yeah, I think encouraging, someone who's always encouraging. Yeah.
All right, encouraging. I love it. I love it. Scott, what would you have to say about the term positive coaching?
I think a coach that wants to coach the kids as much as they want to teach them the game. You know, that they're in it for winning ball games, sure, but I think that they want to develop a relationship with the kids, and all those reasons that Kelly and Ruben said as well.
Okay, developing a relationship, coaching. So I think that really ties into that life lesson aspect and building relationship. I think those are great responses. And what the definition that we've come up with PCA, it's creating an atmosphere that supports best possible performance. And I would feel that definitely reflects the answers that you all shared. Because when I just think back to one of time when I played T-ball, for instance, one of my coaches, every time after we left the game, we all would have an opportunity, we would sit down and he would tell us what we did great at. And then we would go for ice cream. So it was really a positive environment, but ultimately he wasn't bashing, saying, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. But he celebrated what we were able to accomplish together as a team. And he made mention of the great areas that he made mention of what we did great in front of everybody on the team. So I think, you know, just with positive coaching, this is just opportunity for us to have the goal of being not necessarily being soft, but encouraging that feel good and encouraging not overly competitive approach, but having the opportunity to help individuals grow and cultivate this experience as we begin to transition and move forward throughout their time with sports and through their time with us as coaches. Okay, the power of positivity. The power of positivity. So one thing I really can appreciate about PCA is just how the Positive Coaching Alliance isn't just saying things that they think, or they're saying things that they believe. However, there's research that actually backs the different strategies and different areas that PCA really shows support to and really nurtures. For instance, I would ask one of you all to read the slide, but you can't see it behind me. So I'll just say, Kelly, read this for me.
I can read it. I have that.
Okay. Kelly, do you mind just reading just the first piece in the blue about what Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, the psychology professor of UNC, what she had to say about negativity? Yeah,
you just want me to read the blue, or do you want me to read the black too?
Well, yeah, just go ahead and read the first portion of the quote, please.
Okay.
Blue and black, yes.
Okay. It says there's a perception that the best way to get what you want out of employees or players is by negativity or threats, but negativity doesn't work as well as positivity.
Negativity doesn't work as well as positivity. And this is coming from a psychology professor. And one thing that I can appreciate about that profession, about the educational realm, is they don't just say thoughts and they don't just say theories, but they're tried and true. They're tested and they've been shown proven. So negativity doesn't work as well as positivity. Ruben, can you read just the second part of that quote for us, please? Oh, Kelly, can you read the second part of the quote? I don't know if Ruben has it.
I can read it in Ruben's voice. Positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions are more contagious than anyone else's.
Thank you.
That's my impression.
Okay, excellent job, Ruben.
My voice is deeper than that. I know it's high, but sorry, Jonathan.
Oh, no. It's fine. This is an interactive workshop. I love the energy. I love what you all are bringing. And just thinking about the energy, and we're talking about leaders' positive emotions are more contagious. With you all being coaches, by a show of hands, would you say that you're the captain of your ship? But you say that you're the captain of your ship, and understanding that you're the captain of your ship, would you say that, yes, depending on how I respond will be the way that some of my youth respond as well? Would you say that they would respond based on how you respond?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So just understanding this and understanding that positive emotions are more contagious. Would you all say that we need to begin creating a culture, understanding that this is the way that we do things here with positive coaching? Would you say that this is necessary for us to ultimately impact our youth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So just understanding those things, we have a little bit more research, and then I'm going to get a little bit more feedback from you all in just a moment. But study after study shows the benefits of a more positive approach. This was 2015 in Sports Illustrated. And we know that a lot of the youth now are seeing Sports Illustrated, they're seeing ESPN, they're seeing all these different avenues for them to be exposed to sports. However, we want to make sure that they understand just the positive aspect of it and just what the value really what the value really carries with being positive in sports. Now I just want to show you really quickly some elite coaches. And now we have a list of the coaches. I'm not sure if you all have the PowerPoint, but Brad Stevens, have you heard that name before? A guy named Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens, coach who did pretty well last year with the Celtics. They were rolling. I thought they were going to do it last year. I thought they had a chance. But Brad Stevens, Steve Young, have you heard of this guy? Steve Young, if you're familiar with football at all. Steve Young and the 49ers. Julie Foudy, right? Janie Tucker, Steve Kerr. These individuals ultimately get paid to produce. And by produce, I mean by winning. And they volunteered to play a role and be a part of PCA's National Advisory Board because they understand the impact and what it means for a positive coach and positive coaching, creating that kind of experience that they would want for if they had youth or maybe ultimately even their grandkids as well. So with these individuals having buy-in to PCA and these individuals believing in what we do, I think it would be safe to say that PCA has been doing some things effectively just through positive coaching and through just the principles, through the resources, and ultimately through the strategies that they've shared. What does negativity look like? Let's talk about negativity really quick because we are Positive Coaching Alliance. However, I'm just curious to hear, how have you seen negativity affect a player on your team? Scott, how would you say you've seen negativity affect one of your players?
Well, I think sometimes the younger kids tend to really struggle with making a mistake, and they get real hard on themselves, and they get real negative and take a mistake personally. So we really try to look out for that. Okay,
so the individuals taking a mistake hard on themselves. Okay, that's very good. Ruben, how about you, sir? What would you say? How would you say how negativity has affected a youth that you've worked with or individual you've coached?
I think it can make them lose confidence and even demoralize them.
Okay, so losing confidence and demoralize, these are excellent answers. Kelly, from your perspective, how would you say that you've seen negativity affect one of your athletes?
I've just seen, I had a goalie this year whose father was really negative, and every time she missed a goal, I would hear the dad yell down, "What are you doing? Come on, you're better than that. Stop the ball!" And she would freeze. She wasn't even ready for the next play to come because she was. And then every time she missed it, she would look right up at her dad, and I wanted her to look at me, and she was looking at her dad. So I think it just totally takes over.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely couldn't agree with you all more because from my own personal experience, I've seen that in games when my coach would begin to yell at me and scream at me, then I would just be so shaken up and not even paying attention to the game that's happening, that I'm in. I'm currently in the game on the court and my coach is yelling, and I just would freeze as well. And I would just become discombobulated because this would begin to distract me from what was going on, distracting me from the next play, allowing me to get hung up and not being able to shake it off because, that's just the effect that negativity has. And then ultimately it can take us down a not so positive path. So it shifts your mind from, that particular moment, that task, what you need to accomplish, but it doesn't allow you to focus on the next play that's even coming. So while we see, those effects of negativity, we even heard some information from world-renowned sports psychologists like Charlie Maher and Ken Rivizza. and they also believe that negativity impedes performance, and ultimately impeding performance, this will affect the life lesson that a child maybe ties to that experience. And then this could ultimately deter them from the game for life. This can affect them in a very negative way. So these are some things we want to just begin to think about while we push for positivity. We push to encourage. We push to allow these individuals to not be so hung up and not get so derailed or just focus being shifted from the goal at hand. I'm curious just to hear, or just to see from a show of hands, when we talk about positivity, would you agree that positivity works better? Just by a head nod, would you say being positive works better So, so for instance, we'll go for an example. Because Kelly, you used the example of the father yelling at the child who missed the play on the goal. For instance, the father was like, "Hey," let's say the young lady's name was Candace. "Hey, great job, Candace. Great hustle. Great effort. Just keep on trying. Just keep on." Would you say that would have a better response?
Oh yeah.
Just encouraging, because the child will feel warm. The child's focus isn't shifted. But then, or would you say you would prefer the father to continue to yell? Would you say that would encourage, or would that distract the child from that next play?
Oh no, it definitely distracted her. And then me trying to yell positive things louder was even more distracting.
Yeah, because I can only imagine some of the other teammates looking back, and then everybody's trying to figure out, why is there a yelling match on the sideline? Why is my dad yelling at the coach? Why is the coach yelling at my dad? Who's saying what? We don't know what's going on. So just taking time to really look at that. But now I'm really curious to hear your opinions on this, because we've addressed negativity. We've seen that positivity works better than negativity, which distracts ultimately. But why is there so much negativity in sports? Can you all help me understand? Why is there so much negativity in sports?
Well, we all want to win, and we can't all win every day. So you get frustrated.
We can't win every day, and we get frustrated because winning feels good. Would you agree? Winning feels pretty good.
Yeah,
winning feels pretty good. But you're right. So we can't win. We can't win every day. And then who else would like to share? Kelly or Scott?
I just think there's a lot of pressure. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I would just say that think about what we get as training. What a great opportunity this is to be in a PCA workshop. Normally, the only kind of training we get is how to run a drill or how to teach a fundamental. So, this is great. So there's really not the training out there. And, an older person like me, I played for guys that were, screaming in your face and grabbing your helmet and stuff like that. So, I think you see people coach like they were coached.
People coaching like they were coached. Kelly, and then you had something to share?
Just pressure. Like, I know in this case, this father signed his daughter up for a really competitive travel league. And he just said, I need her to do better so that she can make this team. Like, he just wanted his daughter to succeed so badly that he thought that was the way to do it. Okay.
So pressure, we all want to win, and, people coaching the same way they were coached. Okay. These are great responses. And understanding with PCA's vision, PCA takes PCA takes sports psychology research. They take best practices, and ultimately the goal is to help create better athletes, which ultimately turn into better people. Can you repeat that after me? Better athletes, better people.
Better people.
One more time. Better athletes, better people.
Better.
Because I began to think, because the athletes on our campuses, the athletes who are the captains, the athletes who are these individuals who are role models for all of the people around. So ultimately, we want to not welcome in, or we don't want to continue to allow a culture being created of negativity in sports. We want to now infuse positivity, because creating better athletes create better people, which creates a better culture. And that's the way that we seek to do things. Now, I want to let you all know that each of you, before you leave, we're going to get you the Power of Double Coaching. We're going to get you this handbook. And I began to read it before I started training with PCA. And I was like, this is some really good stuff. Great content, great applicable information. So we're gonna have one of these for you. And in this, like I said before, it's research-based coaching models to guide you, practice tools, and ongoing support, where we also will be able to provide you with the talking points and the PCA development zone, the website where you can access on your phone as well as your laptop. So these are things we want to make sure to provide for you. So once we leave, that you still have resources, you still have something to work with to continue to be an effective coach. Now I want to give you 30 seconds to do a pair share on this particular engagement. And I want you just to share with the individual next to you, the imaginary friend next to you, what makes a great youth experience for kids? Just answer that question with the individual next to you. What makes a great youth sports experience for kids?
But they have fun.
That they have fun.
I'm talking to my friend.
Okay, they have fun. Excellent.
I think their friends are on the team. That they have friends on the team, and they want to have. That's what my partner and I were talking about. How much we just greatest youth experiences for us for when we were with our friends, and we just wanted to hang out with our friends.
Hanging out with the friends, having fun. Ruben, you have anything for us you'd like to share?
I think the games tend to be fun. So making sure that the practices are high energy and there's lots of activity and not much standing around at practice. I think that makes it more fun.
Okay, so lots of activity, making it fun, friends, community. See, when I began to hear these answers, these all fall into the alignment of what PCA is seeking to do here with creating a meaningful athletic experience, helping these individuals feel connected, the teammates and coaches. One phrase that my team, we always chanted before we broke out of practice, we said, one family, one goal. And that creates a sense of connectedness, that creates a sense of community, because I know for a fact that people will be more willing to go to bat for their family versus their friends. So creating that connected experience, helping them also understand that we believe that they can improve. Better athletes, better people. That's what it's all about. And lastly, feeling proud. It's feeling proud and operating with and acting with integrity. Like I said before, these are role models. Better athletes, better people will ultimately create a better environment that we can live in, and then ultimately will be left behind for those coming, the next generation, the next group of teammates following behind us. So really quickly, I'm just going to end right here, but the PCA coaching model with the connectivity, we talk about the emotional tank. We talk about improving, which is the elm tree of mastery, putting forth effort, lifelong learners, and allowing them to be able to make mistakes. It's okay. Making mistakes is okay. And lastly, integrity, like I said before, honoring the game, honoring your coaches, the officials, your parents, and your teammates. These are all pivotal pieces of what the PCA model stands for. And that's what we do.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan.
Oh, that was stressful. That was a little stressful for me.
You think that was more stressful than doing it in front of live people, or less stressful?
No, I think that was more stressful, honestly.
I agree.
Just when I'm sitting down, it's a little awkward for me. But.
Oh, I agree. I agree. If you can, that's what I always tell people. If you can get through this and do well, you're going to be good in front of people. I would love to hear from Ruben or Scott, and just love to hear some feedback from you guys. What do you think? Jonathan did well.
Kelly, if I could go first. Then I can get set up for the next hangout. So Jonathan, you know, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought you got off to a great start. I thought, you know, the phrase I'm really gonna lean in terms of you know, the interaction and stuff. I like that. Hey, you're Jonathan, you are professional. You're smooth. You have energy. You're expressive. Even under the stress of this format, you know, you smile. You do so many good things. And so as you practice and get more comfortable, I think you're going to be able to engage us even more, do more asking of us as opposed to telling us what's on slides. You know, I think you'll gradually move in that direction. I think you'll be able to bring even more of your natural energy, your awesome personality, sprinkle in your personal examples and stories. You know, like the one family, one goal example really brings the material to life for us. So I think you're in a good place. I think you're going in a good direction. I would encourage you, especially in this section, to move through it at a faster pace. Okay. You know, yeah, I would encourage you to move through that opening at a quicker clip. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ruben, do you think he spent too long on one specific part of it, or just the whole?
I'll give an example. So for example, you know, I mean, this opening is is it's kind of convincing us that positivity is the way to go, right? And so we go through some material, Sports Illustrated, the National Advisory Board, the research, and then we get to a point where we ask, do you agree that positivity works better? And that's a place where it's, you're almost everybody's going to agree. And so then the point on that slide is not why does positivity work better? We've already done that. We've already gone through that. The point is, okay, so then why is there negativity? Which you got to, but I thought there was a little bit of a rehashing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, Jonathan?
I would agree. I would agree. You are correct. Mm-hmm.
So I think that will allow you to get our voices in more and keep it moving quicker.
Okay. That's good feedback.
Thanks,
Jonathan. This was Jonathan. Yeah, this is Jonathan's first demo, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're in a good place here with us, Jonathan.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
I thought he was very thorough with the curriculum. I do agree with Ruben that I felt like there were times that knowing what's left in the workshop, I was kind of trying to give him the signal to kind of move a little quicker through this. I really love that he was appreciative of us early. We talk about that being a tank filler, and to start off your workshop by appreciating the fact that they're there. I thought he did a good job of teasing the DevZone website early. And I thought he missed and he ultimately got to the book. But I think, and then he brought up talking points around the book and the other resources. I tend to try to bring in the talking points piece to diffuse a why are you asking for my email at the beginning of it. So when you do text to sign in, I tend to bring up the talking points resource about being able to plug into something like that. I love that he brought in there early best possible performance. I just think that's such a key point that especially when, we're talking about PCA and you get the old, okay, it's a nonprofit from California, you're about holding hands and saying, no, we're about the best possible performance, and I liked how we got into the better athletes, better people part. I thought it interesting. He is an answer repeater. He would repeat your answer or Ruben's answer, and I think there are rooms that is totally necessary and audiences that's necessary. So that's a good habit to be. That's, to me, nice polish as a presenter, if you need to do something like that. I thought just having that I follow the Ruben Nieves ready go on a paired chair after very clear instructions. I would have liked to see a little more clarity on, hey, okay, so we're going to turn to your partner next to you, and we laugh that we don't have a partner or the dog's laying on the ground, but that, okay, we're going to take 90 seconds and we're going to do this. Everybody understand, ready, go. And that's my Ruben copy in a workshop. So, I think just something marching forward, but I loved it. I thought there was great energy. Kelly knows how bad we need trainers in North Texas, and I'm just kind of drooling right here going, yay, a new person on my team. Yeah. So I appreciate your diligence on it and your time that you put in it, because it shows. So thanks.
Thanks, Scott. All right. I agree with everything that I actually have. I'm crossing off comments as they're saying them because I don't want to be repetitive, but I agree with a lot of the same things that that Ruben and Scott said. Right off the bat, Jonathan, you made me want to listen to you. And I think that's a lot of your experience. It's just your style. You're very easy to listen to, and you engage me right away just by your personality and the energy in your voice. So that's definitely a plus in your column. And I think with your experience with motivational speaking and talking, you have that charisma that a lot of people don't. And I never take that for granted, because we get a lot of people that want to be PCA trainers that are phenomenal coaches or high-level athletes, and they're boring. So they might know the PCA stuff up and down, but you're like, man, if you can't keep my attention in the 20-minute demo, how are you going to do this for 2 hours in a workshop? So kudos to you on that. That was great. Couple tips and I'm just going in chronological order here. Couple tips. When you're asking them to do the text to sign in, a lot of people are going to be hesitant because they don't want to give away their email address. So I address that right away, and I tell them what's in it for them. So if I sign into your workshop, Jonathan, do you know what's in it for me as a coach? Why would I bother to do that?
You're asking us rhetorical.
I'm asking you, not rhetorical.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how you get the emails where you get the weekly talking points, which gives you access to PCA Dev Zone, and that's where they have the blogs, the videos, a lot of information. Because I've gone on the website and there's a lot of information.
Yeah, there is. So that's one point. So I think, addressing that right away, one of the benefits you're going to get from just signing in is you're going to get a weekly email that's going to come to you. And I always tell them too, it's only going to come for 10 weeks so that they know it's not going to clog their inbox forever, but it can give you a lot of different resources on the spot that you can use right there at practice or at your games. Also, I think, the next couple slides, you're going to show them how many coaches are trained every year and how many workshops we do. So it's also a good way, I always say, to measure our impact. And so we appreciate you signing in so that we know the impact. And also it gives them credit. There's a lot of schools that make it mandatory for coaches to be there. And I like them to get, a lot of times when I say you get credit for being at this workshop and you'll get a certification card emailed to you tomorrow, then coaches are like, oh, wow, I get credit for being here.
Okay.
So those are 3 things I just think will get people to want to sign in more. Because other than that, they can hold their phone in their hand. And sometimes you look down and you've got 30 coaches in the room and only 10 have signed in. And you're like, what the heck? Come on, people. Sign in. It's not that hard. So
that really works with parents too, Kelly. I've found that, if you say, hey, look, we're going to give a list to the, we can give the league a list that says, hey, here's who's here.
Yeah.
They want to get credit for being there.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a soccer club one time that said, by you signing in at this workshop, your son or daughter's going to get a water bottle at practice on Monday. And I was like, that's awesome. I thought that was great. Okay, so I love it when you recognize people's experience. That's something at a workshop right off the bat. I think coach, as Scott said, it fills their tank. It shows them that you're not saying you're the expert on everything. You want to tap into that experience in the group, and people like to be recognized. And I like the way you applauded for the people, like, thank you for your experience. That's great also. You did use the word presentation. So just be careful about that, because the first thing you said was, this is a workshop. And then you said, in today's presentation. So it's just a little thing. You usually
all cringe too.
Yeah, that's a Ruben thing as well. He points that out all the time. So that was just one thing I caught. I love that you put in your story right away about your T-ball coach. I would have wanted to hear more about that in the very beginning. You had a T-ball coach, that would, after the game, would tell you everything you did that was great. And then you went for ice cream. And the fact that, I don't know how many years ago T-ball was for you, Jonathan, but I'm sure it wasn't a week ago. And so remember that coach made an impact on you. So I think this is where the ideas start flowing in my head. Mm-hmm. I want to hear what that did for you as a player. Like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we went for ice cream. But what did that coach actually do for you as a player? Obviously, years later, you still remember it. So your first T-ball coach had a big impact on you, and you played semi-pro basketball. So there's something about that coach that made him different than the other coaches that you had. And I think that's where I call it like the emotional connection in a workshop. Oh. You'll get coaches to sit in your room, and and again, it's a good spot to just go, gosh, I wonder if I'm making that kind of impact. I wonder, and that's when it gets into the Herm Edwards video and the legacy piece. Will they say that? Will they say that about you? And again, when you get to that part of the Herm Edwards video and the legacy that you leave behind, bring it up again. My T-ball coach when I was a kid will forever impact me. He left an important impact on me. And when I coach, I remember that coach. I think that's where you get the coaches to kind of sit back and go, man, am I that kind of coach that's going to be remembered? So I'd love a little bit more of that in there. I liked also your push to say that, PCA is not just saying what we think, it's backed up by research. And again, I think I think you hit that maybe a little too hard, because the research is super important. Mention it. It's definitely important. Barbara Fredrickson, and you're going to bring up a lot of other research, but then let the workshop do the talking. You don't have to sell that as much, because the rest of the workshop, you're going to be bringing up the research. So I think that's an area that you could kind of scale back a little bit. Okay. National Advisory Board slides. And rather than saying, like, have you heard of Brad Stevens, or tell me something about these people. That's what I always say. Give me a word to describe these people, or tell me somebody you recognize here. So they might shout out, I recognize Steve Kerr, Brad Stevens, Dusty Baker, Julie Fowler. Okay, now give me some words to describe them. And they'll say champion, winner, successful. Yeah, do you think champions that are winning and successful will give up their time to help us? Again, you brought up the point too, they're being paid millions of dollars. to win, and they believe positivity is the way to do it. So I would just ask rather than tell, you know, instead of telling everybody about them, ask them, because that gets the group engaged too. I loved how have you seen negativity affect a player? I think that's also another awesome opportunity for them to pair share with somebody, because they might not necessarily want to share. You know, after you do a lot of, I call it cold calling, where you're kind of just asking a question to the group where somebody has to raise their hand and answer. About 10 minutes into it, people might not want to do that anymore. So it might be an opportunity to pair share. You know, turn to a partner, turn to somebody behind you, get up and find somebody that has the same eye color as you do. I always love that one, because then people are like face to face like this with their eyeballs open, trying to find somebody. But it gets them to talk about, I like how you worded it, not where have you seen a negative coach, but how have you seen it affect a player? And I just thought that was just brilliant, the way that you phrased that, because that's what we're getting at. Yeah, we want coaches to be positive, but how are they affecting the players? So I thought I really liked that too. And then you talked about your story. You know, you were shaken up, you were distracted. So I loved how you sprinkled in your personal experience. That's really powerful. The better athletes, better people gets people all engaged, the yelling that out. I think that's a lot of fun. The one thing that you did mention that I want to change is that you said at the end of the workshop, we're going to give you a book. And in the workshop, Scott does a really good job before the workshop of selling the books to the partners. And we want you to use them throughout the workshop. So they're going to get that book handed to them the minute they get there. Sometimes I even put them on the seats. If I want everybody to sit in the front of a big room, I'll put a book on the seat and I'll say, please sit in a seat that has a book on it. That book is something that you can reference throughout the workshop. And as you get into the tools, there's going to be these little yellow flags flying in from the side. That references the page in the book. Get them in it. Get them looking at, open up to page 32. Somebody read the first sentence on page 38 for me. Somebody tell me what a mistake ritual is, or what is positive charting, or, you know, so use the book at the workshop. You're not going to go through the whole thing, but use it so that they know it's a really good resource. And it's funny because sometimes I'll have them open up the book and look at something, and then I'm on to the next part of the workshop and they're still paging through the book. And I'm like, oh, okay, back to me now. But it's good to know that it's a resource that you're sending them home with, but they have it in their hand now. And we want you to use it and reference it often. It's not a party gift. It's something that we want them to use as a resource. So that would be the one thing I would change.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then again, the one family, one goal, like I agree with what Ruben said. I think that's important because that tells the coaches that you are part of a team that had a culture, and one family, one goal. Anytime you use like trigger words like that, that's when coaches are like, oh, I could use that. Like I could do that. So I love that type of thing too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited. So the next section that I'm going to have you do is one of the principles. So you can pick filling the emotional tank or the Elm Tree of Mastery or honoring the game. And the principle part's different than the introduction because the introduction is kind of like a teaser to the movie. It gets them interested. It's like kind of the sell part of it. Whereas the principle part of it is broken up into the theory behind the principle, like what's the reasoning behind it, the research or the reasoning behind it. So and then the second part is we want you to connect the coaches to that principle. Why is there a need for this principle? Why do coaches need to fill emotional tanks? Why do you need to have a mastery climate? Why do you need to honoring the game? So think about that part. And then the last part is the most important is the tools. These coaches do differently. If they can walk out of the workshop with 5 things they can do tomorrow to make their team better, they're going to do it. That's what coaches love. So when you're going through the principle part of the workshop, it's a little bit different than just, selling the positivity part. You're actually giving them concrete tools and you want them to practice it. If they can't practice one of these tools or talk through how they would use it in a workshop, they're not going to use it when they get back to practice. But if you can actually have them practice, like, all right, practice giving a criticism sandwich to the person next to you. Or how in the world would you reward unsuccessful effort when the player just totally blew a wide open shot on the net? Questions like that will get coaches to connect to the principles and they'll remember it and they'll use it. That's what we want.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And how long is that? Is that section also 20 minutes? Is that
I make it easy. Yeah, I make it easy. I think if you treat every section in about 20 minutes, that is an hour and 20-minute workshop. And most of our workshops are somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So I think if you practice each section being about 20 minutes, give or take a few, my introduction is usually a little less than 20 minutes, but I spend a little bit longer on filling an emotional tank because I like that one. So I'm a little bit shorter on honoring the game. You kind of have to wiggle it around. But 20 minutes I think is a good guide. And then you have time at the end for questions and things like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So let me know when you're ready to do one of the principles. And I offer you another practice time, but if you feel like, or Scott feels like, you know what, I want to get him out sooner than later. And the final workshop demo is one of the principles. So if you feel like, oh, I just want to go straight to the final and I want to do this to, as my last one to get me out in front of live people, that's fine too. You don't have to do an extra practice one.
Okay. Can I have a copy of this one that we did? Can you send this, please, so I can look at it?
Yes.
But okay, I'll shoot you an email and let you know. Just the week. It's probably gonna be within the next because my house is getting like remodeled right now. We've been having to move stuff and do different things like that. But I will get back with you. I'll get back with you though. I'll get back with you.
All right. Thanks so much, Jonathan. Thanks for taking the time.
Jonathan. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you all.
Have a good weekend, guys.
You guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.